Hello, and thank you for joining us on Classic Vinyl Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Justin. I'm once again joined by my co-host, Tyler.
And I can smell colors.
I bet you can.
I can right now, that's for sure.
I don't doubt it. This is one trip of a song.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, this is a podcast where we listen to and review classic songs and albums from the classic vinyl era of the 60s and 70s. And today we're on an acid trip with Jefferson Airplane and White Rabbit.
Mm-hmm. It is definitely psychedelic, and I would call this song audio acid.
That's a good description of it, without a doubt. So definitely one of the best psychedelic songs and best well-known psychedelic songs to come out of the 60s. Now, White Rabbit was suggested to us to listen to and review by Phil from Kansas City. And a funny story about that is Phil had asked us to listen to and review Surrealistic Pillow, which this song is off of, the album from Jefferson Airplane. And we had actually already done so, about a year ago. And we had some serious technical difficulties, and we've never been able to get them straight. So that one's sitting on the shelf for now.
This song, we definitely want to do this song.
Well, we thought it would be a little easier just to do the song, a little easier to edit for us, since we actually have jobs as well. So
yeah, and the whole album, it was kind of a slog to get through the whole album.
Yeah, it's tough. I actually like the album, but there's different, I don't know, there's 4 or 5 songs that I really enjoy and 4 or 5 songs that I didn't. But we'll get to that one day.
Yeah.
Let me get to a little history on Jefferson Airplane, the band. They're an American rock band formed in San Francisco, California. Marty Balin and Paul Kantner formed the band in 1965. Original founding members were Marty Balin on vocal and guitars, Paul Kantner on vocals, guitar, Jorman Kaukonen, I believe is how you say his name, lead guitar and vocals, Signe Anderson on vocals, Bob Harvey on bass, who was shortly thereafter replaced by Jack Cassidy. Jerry Peliquin on drums was shortly thereafter replaced by Skip Spence. Now, they've had several lineup changes at the beginning of the band, as I just told you, but they released their debut album, Jefferson Airplane Takes Off, which is kind of a unique way to
say
cute. Yeah, in August of 1966. Signe Anderson, the founding member, quit in October of 1966, and they replaced her with another female vocalist, Grace Slick.
The heart and soul of Jefferson Airplane.
Well, I would say Jefferson Airplane, Marty Balin, and Paul Kantner, and God, even all of them, you know what I mean? They're all kind of the heart and soul, but she's certainly
the engine on that airplane?
The engine and the voice to a lot of their most popular songs. But the band famously played the Monterey Pop Festival in June of 1967, which really propelled the band. They evolved into Jefferson Starship in 1974 and eventually just changed their name to plain Starship in 1984 and had a resurgence in the 80s of pop rock hit. They did have a reunion again in 1989. All in all, they've released 8 albums with the band name Jefferson Airplane. 6 of those albums were in the top 20, with Surrealistic Pillow number 3 being their top charting and Crown of Creation hitting number 6. They've released 36 compilation and or live albums, with 2 of them charting in the top 20. They've released 19 singles as Jefferson Airplane. 8 of those singles hit the top 100, 2 in the top 10. You've got Somebody to Love, which is another famous song off of Surrealistic Pillow, hit number 5. White Rabbit hit number 8. The band is Jefferson Starship, released 11 studio albums, all in the top 30. Red Octopus hit number 1. Spitfire hit number 3, and Earth hit number 5. Jefferson Starship also had 6 live albums and 6 compilation albums. They had 22 singles, 10 in the top 100, 3 in the top 10, with Count on Me and Runaway both at number 9. Now they changed their name to Starship, and they had 4 studio albums. See, they're evolving from an airplane to a Jefferson Airplane to a Jefferson Starship to a plain old Starship.
Yeah, and yet I know all of these names.
Well, so do I. So as the band Starship, they had 4 studio albums, 2 of them in the top 20, Knee Deep in the Hoopla in 1985, which hit number 7 on the charts. That was their highest. 7 compilation albums from Starship. Starship had 16 singles released, 5 in the top 20. And of course, in the 80s, We Built This City and Sarah, Nothing's Gonna Stop Us Now. Those 3 songs all hit number 1 in the 80s.
I believe it.
So as people say they know this band really well from the 60s, they certainly had a resurgence in the 80s with that pop rock. So they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1996. I don't know if that's as Jefferson Airplane Starship or what it's as, but
they belong there.
They belong there,
yeah,
without a doubt. Signe Anderson and Paul Kantner, both founding members, both died on January 28th of 2016, the same day.
Oh, wow.
Kind of crazy.
That is crazy.
Marty Balin, who also had a fairly successful solo career, well known for the song Hearts, he died in September of 2018. Do you want to get to the song review?
Yeah, let's go to the song review.
And now it's time for the song review.
So, Tyler, I better ask you before we get to reviewing this song, what is your history with Jefferson Airplane and White Rabbit?
I am familiar with this song. I'd say quite familiar, but I don't know all of the lyrics well enough to sing along. Does that make sense?
Like Feed Your Head?
Yeah, I don't. That's the thing is, like, I have no idea what she was saying at the end of it.
Feed your head.
She's saying feed your head.
I mean,
now I know that.
That's this whole song is about feeding your head.
Yeah.
I really believe that.
There's a double entendre there, isn't there?
There really is.
Yeah. But I wouldn't know that. I mean, I love that she can put the word caterpillar in a song, but it makes sense. It's a hookah smoking caterpillar.
Well, and she's talking about the pills, the pills that mother give you. They don't do anything at all.
No, they don't. But one pill makes you taller and the other one makes you small.
Yeah, acid will do some stuff to you, man.
Yeah. And this is, I love this song because this is like as close as you can get to an acid trip without actually ingesting LSD.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Let me give you a little history on the song White Rabbit. So this was released on June 18th of 1967. This is written and sang by Grace Slick. As White Rabbit was recorded for Surrealistic Pillow album, the band consisted of Marty Balin on vocals and guitars, Grace Slick on vocals, Jorma Kaukonen on lead guitar, Paul Kantner on rhythm guitar, Jack Cassidy on bass, and Spencer Dryden on drums. This single had a B-side of a song that was called Plastic Fantastic Lover, which I'm not familiar with that song, but just because of the name of it, we need to go listen to that one.
Yeah, I know what we're doing after this episode.
Exactly. So this song was recorded at RCA Victor Studios in Hollywood, California, and produced by Rick Gerard. Now, this is obviously off the group's second studio album, Surrealistic Pillow, which is by far the band's most popular album, at least I should say in the 60s, until they turned into the Starship or the Jefferson Starship or however that worked. But the album Surrealistic Pillow did reach number 3 in the U.S. Billboard charts and is certified platinum by the RIAA. And the funny thing about this song is actually a Grace Slick song. She brought this song to the band. It was a song she performed while she was in her previous band called The Great Society. She brought both this song and their other famous song off this album, Somebody to Love, from that former band. So pretty big contribution from her on this,
I'd say. And The Great Society, it seems more like kind of a beatnik type band.
Well, we did listen to White Rabbit twice, the original version, and we did listen to the White Rabbit from the Great Society, which is completely different.
Yeah, there's a lot more clarinet.
Well, and it's a 6-minute long song where 4 minutes of it is instrumental.
Yeah, it's a big, long introduction before Grace Slick even gets to it. And then she just kind of expeditiously gets through the song.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell what song it is then, but for a minute I thought we might have been playing the wrong song, but I wasn't for sure. So this is a song, I mean, if you know anything about it or anything about, let's say, Alice in Wonderland, it draws inspiration directly from Alice's Adventure in Wonderland. It was an 1871 book from Lewis Carroll, the sequel to Through the Looking Glass. So, I mean, all the references in this or from that. It's pretty easy to draw that conclusion, but now you kind of got to throw the LSD in there a little bit as well. But Grace Slick has stated on multiple occasions this is one of her earliest written songs, and she gives credit to Miles Davis's 1960 album Sketches of Spain as an inspiration for the music to the song. And it's kind of a marching song, and I have heard Miles Davis's album, and it is very similar in a way, but completely different, if that makes sense. And I think that's what Grace Slick wanted it to be, was different from the music at the time, and she accomplished that.
You know, it's interesting to learn that this is supposed to be like reminiscent of Spanish guitar music, because I always thought this was like supposed to be Indian or Middle Eastern sitar type music.
Well, it's funny when we listen to that version from the Great Society, the music, the instrumental at the first is very Middle Eastern feeling.
Yeah.
To me, more so than this one, but very Middle Eastern feeling.
Yeah, when you play this one and you say, "Oh, this is inspired by Spanish guitar music," you're like, "Yes, it is." As a matter of fact,
it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. Now, Grace Slick has also stated multiple times that Alice in Wonderland was often read to her as a child, and it remained a vivid memory for her for years, obviously, because into her adulthood when she, I guess, started on the lysergic acid because it was time to write this song.
Yeah, and then, that just gives rise to the feminist Tomei.
Something like that. But
I don't even know what a Tomei is.
We can look it up.
Okay.
This song, she wrote it. It was supposedly supposed to be a wake-up call to parents who read their children novels, such as Alice in Wonderland, and wondered why their kids would start using drugs. Because they were reading, the smoking hookah and some kind of mushroom and the pills and all those kind of things. And she later commented that all fairy tales read to little girls and boys have a Prince Charming who comes and saves them. But Alice in Wonderland, she did not. She was on her own in a very strange place, but she kept on going and she followed her curiosity. And that's the White Rabbit, man.
Yeah, I never thought about that before, but when she points that out, that's a very feminist theme, isn't it?
It really is. It's a interesting take on it. And I was reading an interview she had done, and she said a lot of women could have taken a message from that story about how you can push through for your own agenda. And she has stated the line in the song "Feed Your Head" is both about reading and psychedelics.
Yeah.
So for a young woman, fill your head with knowledge, but also maybe do a little acid to expand your mind. I think because that makes sense. The more you read, the more you learn, the more intelligent you are, and the further you can go in your own head and in your own life. And feeding your head by paying attention, reading books, doing acid, because that's what the thing was at the time.
Yeah, and I don't even know that I would necessarily condone the whole drug use message of it, but certainly feed your head by experience, broadening your horizons with curiosity and following adventures, going and trying new things. Not necessarily drugs, but not necessarily not drugs either. Try new things. Experiment with the world around you.
In that interview I read, she stated that she wrote this song after an LSD acid trip. Now, sometimes that's just the cool thing to say years later, so I don't know when it was said, but I mean, it sounds good. And this song has a lot of interesting references in it, including Alice, the White Rabbit, the hookah, smoking caterpillar, the White Knight, the Red Queen, among a ton of others. This is definitely one of the most recognizable rock songs of the 60s, and it's definitely an odd song. There was a lot of different psychedelic songs in the 60s. I think this would probably be the top one. I would put this as the top psychedelic song of the 60s.
For sure.
And it's just such a short song, but it reached number 8 in the U.S. charts. It only reached number 94 in the U.K. I don't think they were quite ready for it, but I'll tell you who was ready for it is the Canadians. It reached number 1 in the Canadian charts. So they certainly understood it more than everybody. The single is certified 2 times platinum by the RIAA with over 2 million in sales of the single alone. Rolling Stone has ranked the song as high as 478 on the top 500, which I think is kind of low.
That's way low for this song.
Yeah, for its importance. I mean, the song itself was inducted in the Grammy Hall of Fame of 1998. Now, when we always talk about pop culture for songs and things, this song's all over. I mean, it's been in so many TV shows, film, commercials, including, I can name some, Platoon, Twilight Zone, newer shows like Stranger Things. It was featured in that, The Handmaid's Tale. And there's so many, you can't even come close to naming them all. But obviously, Tyler, we listened to this a couple times along with the original version. So after listening to it with the point of telling me what you actually think, even though what we think doesn't matter, but we still like to sit here and pretend it does.
That's way deep, man.
You're the lyric guy, so here you go. What's your thoughts on White Rabbit?
Here I go. This is a really cool song to listen to because it starts off with the instruments, setting that have a march to it. The bass opens and then the drums join in with that march. And then the guitar, and that guitar, it sounds almost like a sitar, but it's because of the style that they're playing. And it's not a sitar, it's that Spanish, style. And it sounds so good.
Well, I think the guitar is pretty raw and it's kind of got that staccato feeling, almost kind of like the way John Lennon plays the guitar, almost rough in a way to me. And I like the sound of it.
Mm-hmm. Grace Slick starts singing, and she's got such a perfect voice for this song. And I suppose that's because she wrote it, and so it was in her head that she brought this out. But she draws out a lot of the words, the lyrics. She draws them out, and she's got this beautiful voice that's so strong. And it holds these notes, and then all of a sudden she brings in the vibration in her voice. And it's so cool to listen to the style of her singing. It's very iconic of Grace Slick. I think I fell in love with her. I don't know that.
She's too old for you.
She's definitely too old for me, but she's a good songwriter, good lyricist. I love the poetry of it. I love the lyrics where she gets into, it goes straight to Lewis Carroll's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, or Through the Looking Glass, or the references for like hookah smoking caterpillar is so awesome that you can throw a lyric into a song like that. And I'm all about goofy lyrics and weird songs, so I respect that, but even more so than respecting it, this is a song that I just adore because of what it captures. It really does give you that sense of what it's like to be on an acid trip. Now that's, coming from me, someone who's never done anything stronger than an ibuprofen, but this is, it feels like a weird mind altering drug trip. This is just so cool. And that psychedelic rock for you that's supposed to give you that feeling. I love this song, and I always have. Perfect. What are your thoughts about this one, Justin?
White Rabbit's a song I've always enjoyed. If anything, I think nowadays with Somebody to Love and White Rabbit, they are probably played a little more than what I like to hear. And I can even say that with all my favorite bands, I mean, I was talking about the Doors earlier, and Light My Fire, which is by far their most popular song, I really don't want to hear it anymore. And it's not that I don't like the song, it's just I feel like I'm saturated sometimes. And I kind of get that with this song, but I'm going to tell you one thing is I like this song.
Yeah.
And I like Jefferson Airplane as a group. I really like Somebody to Love. I like the song Volunteers. They're a perfect example of the 60s San Francisco rock and roll and the psychedelic movement and everything like that. And they're a pretty good little rock and roll band. The only thing I suffer for this song is hearing it a little too much. And like I've always said, I'm not going to complain about a song. It's not the song's fault that it's good. And it really is a good song. I like how the bass opens this song. Then you get the little guitar licks and then the drumming kicks in. And I really like that. The song right off the bat reminds me of a military march. And the song as it goes along speeds up. And I really like that staccato guitar, how it's just kind of raw and echoey. It sounds like it's not produced well, but it sounds like it's supposed to. It just sounds good and raw. And I like that. And the bass marches along with the drums as well through the song. And the build up to the song, to the crescendo, is great. The lyrics are crazy. But at the time, I mean, you're talking to a guy that loves the Beatles. And I mean, go look at I Am the Walrus or something and talk about something that doesn't make sense,
Yeah, but also something that gives you a certain feeling, right?
It does. And this song, to me, is not super special musically. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I just mean it's not like rocking out or anything like that. It's just kind of that march that kind of builds and builds and builds to that crescendo at the end. And the lyrics, although they're weird as hell, they mean something because she's referencing Lewis Carroll's writings and Feed Your Head and all this stuff. But it's kind of like a double meaning, She's obviously singing about LSD. That's the movement at the time. That's what's going on. And Grace Slick and Jefferson Airplane were right in the middle of that, or almost the poster children for that, without a doubt. But I like how it can have that double meaning to hey, learn more, feed your head any way you can. And obviously one of the ways to do that at the time was the lysergic acid, and so, yeah, it's a good song. I don't skip this song when it comes on. It's one of those that's, I think, on the top 20 songs of the 60s that, especially if you're going to put together a psychedelic soundtrack, this is song one, for me.
Something that I find really remarkable about the lyrics in this is she mentions so many characters from Wonderland. She does not mention the Mad Hatter, the March Hare, or the Cheshire Cat. Some of the more iconic characters from Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. No, she mentions the Red Queen, the White Knight, and some of these other ones, but she leaves some of the more prominent in-your-face characters, she leaves them out and focuses solely on, hey, there's more to this than you realize.
Yeah, it just kind of leaves you wondering, doesn't it?
Yeah, it leaves you more to find. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. So do you want to get the song rating?
Let's rate it.
Song rating.
Okay, listener, if this is your first episode, I'll briefly explain our scale of rating. We got 0 to 10, 10 being the best, and I put this one really high. I'm almost a 10 on this. Almost. The reason it's not a 10, it's a 9 for me. And the only reason it's not is because I'm just not a druggie. And if I was a druggie, this would be a 10. So this is a problem more with me than the song. Where do you put this one, Justin?
Well, that's a really interesting way to rate a song.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite as high as you on this one. And like I said, maybe that suffers because I've heard it too much, but this is an excellent song. Once again, I'm going to say it. I think this is the poster child song for the psychedelic movement of the 60s, without a doubt. I think this song is just every bit as relevant today as it was then.
Sure.
I don't think it's a musically masterful song. I think it makes you think if you really listen to it, but it's just a short, good song that kind of gets you thinking, what is it all about? It's an excellent song. I think Grace Slick does an excellent job of singing it. She's got not a perfect singing voice, but a perfect singing voice for this. And I rate this an 8.5. I think it's a good song. And
all right, you are not far off of me.
Not too far off.
I think
not too far off.
We must be friends with similar tastes.
Well, I'll tell you this much. It's not my favorite Jefferson Airplane song.
No, but they got some great hits.
Yeah, they do. They have some good hidden gems too that we'll get to one of these days. But thank you, Phil, for letting us listen to and review that song, because since our surrealistic pillow episode took a dive, and maybe one day we'll get it fixed or just re-record it all together. Who knows? But
yeah. But thank you very much, Phil, for having us revisit this one. This was a fun treat for me.
So that's Jefferson Airplane and White Rabbit. And like always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, have songs or albums you'd like us to rate, send them to classicvinylpodcast@gmail.com. And I know it gets old me saying it, but it really means a lot to us too that really don't know what we're talking about or know what we're doing. But it means a lot that you're listening. So
sure does.
Until next time, we'll see you later.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to Classic Vinyl Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe on Spotify or Apple Podcast or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at Classic Vinyl Podcast for updates, and also share us with your music-loving friends.